Andy Slaughter said the U-turn showcases the challenges facing British politicians who want to take action on human rights abuses in Saudi Arabia. The United Nations says landmines and other unexploded ordnance have caused some 159 casualties in Yemen's strategic western port city of Hodeidah over the past 6 months. The UN therefore accused Saudi-backed militants of planting landmines in areas adjacent to battlefields and in most residential neighborhoods in retaliation for the defeat. The director of the UN's Mine Action Service said over 50% of the casualties in the city of Hodeidah were women and children and called for the acceleration of the mining across Yemen. Landmines have been laid across Yemen since the 1960s. However, there has been a surge in the use of the devices since the Saudi-led military onslaught began in March 2015. And here again are the highlights of the weather at noon. In Nigeria, the Department of State Services DSS has compelled stakeholders in the distribution chains to end the lingering petrol scarcity in 2 days, failing which the appropriate action will be applied. Our South African political party Congress of the People COPE has called on South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Minister of Finance Enoch Godongwana to urgently intervene in the power tussle in order for the country to avoid spending Christmas in the dark. Russian President Vladimir Putin says attacks in Ukraine's energy infrastructure were a response to Kiev's strikes on Russia's power lines, stressing that Ukraine provoked these strikes by conducting an attack in early October on the Crimean Bridge connecting Crimea with mainland Russia. The United Nations says landmines and other unexploded ordnance have caused some 159 casualties in Yemen's strategic western port city of Hodeidah over the past 6 months. That was a word at noon, edited by Olushayo Babatunde and delivered by Oluwatoyin Yusuf. As the FIFA World Cup enters the quarter-finals stage today in Qatar, News Talker praises the performances of the Africa's representatives in relation to the potential of the continent in the game of round leather. The piece is written by Mohideen Adeleke of Directorate of Sports.
Milestone in the global football showpiece by having multiple teams go beyond the group phase to reach the round of 16 in the World Cup at the ongoing Qatar 2022. The remarkable results at the men's FIFA World Cup in Qatar, which saw Senegal and Morocco move into the knockout stage, is Africa's best performance at the World Cup since 2014. That year, both Nigeria and Algeria reached the final 16. There is no gainsaying the fact that this was a remarkable performance after a dismal 2018 World Cup when none of the African representatives went beyond the group stage. But if reaching the round of 16 was an important marker, Morocco achieved a personal best record by eliminating Spain, renowned for their total football, better known as tiki-taka, to bath at the quarterfinals at the expense of their much fancied opponents. The Moroccans achieved a defeat by soaking up much pressure only to hit the Spaniards on the break occasionally before dispatching them in style through penalty shootout. This perhaps explains why the Moroccan fans in Doha and elsewhere celebrated the historic win all through the night with fireworks and flares. But what could be even more sustaining is having multiple teams reach the quarterfinals. Although it will be a Herculean task, it could well become a turning point in Africa's World Cup history. It is on record that 3 African teams had reached the quarterfinals in the previous editions of the World Cup fiesta. Cameroon did it in 1990. Senegal made it to the last 8 in 2002, while Ghana followed suit in the 2010 FIFA World Cup hosted by South Africa. However, 2 African teams have never reached that stage in a single World Cup. This jinx agonizingly remains remains until the 2022 Mundial, as only Morocco scaled the hurdle among the 2 African countries that got to the knockout stage. Recall that the 3 Lions of England had on Monday sent the Teranga Lions of Senegal packing in a game that the Senegalese missed some decent scoring chances, especially in the early stage of the first half. Reaching the quarterfinals aside, the performance of Africa's representatives in Qatar points to a definitive moment, indicating that the continent can compete with the top teams in the world sustainably. The resilience of 2 African teams, Tunisia and Cameroon, provides an indication.
Daniel Stock X-ray the factors inhibiting good performance by Africa's representatives at the FIFA Men's World Cup in relation to their potentials. It was written by Mohideen Adeleke of the Directorate of Sports. For more about us, you can visit osbc.org.ng. Thanks for listening to The Word at Noon. Good afternoon.